last 12 years I give teachings in the West, and I see people are really impatient for go slow, but there's no other way. Who really put the time to practice, as we know now, neuroscientists more and more proving this, you see. Even that neuroplasticity, and talk about that if you apply certain numbers of hours, our hardwired brain is changing. So you see that effort is not lost.
The word neuroplasticity simply means that the brain can change in response to experience. And there is a wealth of evidence related to neuroplasticity in modern neuroscience. And much of modern neuroscience has been focused on delineating the different mechanisms of neuroplasticity. Most of neuroplasticity occurs, as I often say, unwittingly. That is, we're not aware of the forces around us that are continuously shaping our brains. The invitation in the contemplative neuroscience area is that we actually can wittingly or intentionally shape our brains. We can take more responsibility for our own brains. And if we cultivate healthy habits of mind, we can actually intentionally shape our brains in ways which can promote well-being and other virtuous qualities.
But neuroscientific research gives us a shortcut. Why? They prove that meditation works on physical level and mental level. When there's a proof, people already programmed in science. You grew up in science. Your program, your religion, whatever your belief, values, all rooted in there. So you say, see, this meditation is working. Look at this scientific research. And nobody questions that. They immediately want to do a meditation, no problem.
So meditation is something that's been in most of the major religions throughout history. A whole range of meditative practices can be found in all the major religions. And they have within mindfulness a particular function, a particular service. And the service is to cultivate mindfulness. So the analogy I sometimes think of is like physical exercise, so that one can do physical exercise to build stamina, to build fitness. Meditative practices are used within mindfulness for the same reason, to actually do a number of things, to train the mind, to still the mind, to reveal the mind. So meditative practices within mindfulness are in the service of helping us better understand our minds. They're in the service of transforming the mind, reshaping the mind. Those practices enable us to think differently, respond differently. And finally, they're in the service of actually liberating the mind. So liberating the mind in the sense of suffering less, but also enabling a sort of potential for greater joy, for greater wisdom, for greater responsiveness in our lives.
We have studied many different forms of meditation. We have parsed meditation into different categories of practices. One category of practices we can think of as cultivating qualities of awareness, and they are practices which we often refer to as mindfulness practices. A second group of practices are practices that involve explicitly cultivating compassion and other positive qualities of the mind. A third category of practices are practices that cultivate insight into the transitory nature of ourselves and of phenomena more generally. These are said to be practices that cultivate this kind of insight, which is critical in relieving suffering. So we've studied all three different kinds of practices, but most of the research has been focused on one of the on the first two categories of practice: awareness practices and practices that are designed to cultivate these virtuous qualities of the mind.
In the West, people see the physical cleanness as a youthfulness as the topmost priority in their life. They take shower every day. And they put nice clothes, put so much perfumes and lotions, and just try to keep it as clean as possible, young as possible. In Tibet, and nowadays changed, but old Tibet, most of part of Tibet, culturally, we take only one time shower in life. One shower. When you died, people will clean your body. Then maybe cremated or whatever. But in opposite, we take care of mind. To clean our mind so importantly. From our kids can start to speak, can call father, mother's name, they will start knowing the mantras. A different mantra they will start reciting. Till the day they die. And some kind of a mental cleansing. And they're going to the teaching, going to the empowerments, or go to pilgrimage. It's any Tibetan at that time, as all Buddhists, so they will do it. It's no doubt. Everybody. So this is a two extreme we're doing. One take care of mental things so much. One take care of physically so much.
Compassion is often associated with pro-social behavior, behaving altruistically to others, and we can measure that. Compassion is often associated with a quality of trusting or acceptance of others. We can measure those kinds of things. Compassion is often associated with being able to take the perspective of another, and we can measure aspects of that. So we're approaching it in many different ways, and one of the ways in which we study it is by actually bringing individuals into the laboratory and teaching them very simple strategies to cultivate compassion, to nourish compassion. And we can then evaluate these individuals over time and look to see how the brain may differentially respond to stimuli that depict human suffering. And so that is a strategy that we have adopted, and it turns out that you can take individuals who've never had any meditation practice before in their life, and you can teach them a simple form of compassion meditation over the course, say, of 2 weeks, where they're practicing 30 minutes a day. And you can measure the changes in the brain that are produced before and after this period of 2 weeks of practice, and you can measure changes in behavior. And that's the kind of strategy that we've adopted in some of our research, and we have shown that as little as 2 weeks of practice is sufficient to produce measurable changes in the brain.
The research is showing that a few hours day practice after a month, and you see that your immune system, there's a significant improvement in immune system to fighting the disease. And Buddhism and High Vajrayana Tantra believe that if you develop in a certain stage, you can basically heal any disease with just your environment. This just need time and proof. You have to go through all those stages, practice. Your mind reach to next stage. And so when your distractions are reduced, your negative emotions are reduced, you gain this mental power. The positive, the pure mind gain more powers. Right now, in normal people, who's control us? It's not you, but your distraction and your negative mind.
So I think we all have this natural capacity to be aware, to be present. We, for very good reasons, spend a good part of our time on automatic pilot. But that ability to be present here with my experience just now, what's the quality of my mind, what's the quality of my heart, what's the quality of my body just now, that capacity, a trainable capacity, I think is profoundly important. It enables me to see how in this moment I am with the world, and then crucially, how I can be in responding to the world.
In my previous roles in education, I'd always worked in Catholic schools and had seen how children respond to moments of silence and reflection. In moving into a school which has a secular focus, we were very aware that we wanted to give opportunities to children with the same benefits, to give them the same benefits. But finding a vehicle through which we could do that was quite a challenge. So in looking around for things, one of the staff at school had become very familiar and had taken on a number of courses herself in mindfulness. And she came to me with the idea that mindfulness, the .B program that we use, would be a very good thing to introduce into the academy.
So what does it mean to be mindful? One way to characterize that is to think of the opposite, which is automatic pilot. To actually not be present to our experience, to be going through the day on automatic pilot. And we do that for very good reasons. But to be present to my experience, to what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what's happening in my body, feels a very precious thing. It feels like a place where I can register what my response is to the world in a given moment, and from that position to savor it, but also to enable me to respond skillfully to the world.
But we are coming into this fast, this impatient age, and everybody wish to become a superstar overnight or billionaire overnight. And many people have no patience to go step by stage, slowly that accumulate whether material wealth or the knowledge anymore. And especially when Buddhism comes to West, and many Westerners are very highly educated. And for them to read books and understanding what people talking is so easy. There is no questions. Technology brings us so much this convenient these days, look, from our communications, transportations, and our food, and everything has become fast, easy, short. And so people build those strong habits, want to get fast things. And but if you come to Buddhism, then we have to change this attitude. And fast will not work on you.
So giving children strategies that enable them to detach, control moments of calm and create those moments of calm whenever they want to, they see the value of that. Particularly for children who have many things going on in their lives. They don't have a moment of silence. With television, with video games, with phones, they're surrounded by noise and activity. They come from a home with a lot of activity. They come on the bus and it's full of noise and bustle. They come into an academy or a school and it's constant noise, movement, people talking to you. How do you create moments of silence and calm in that very busy, turbulent environment? And that's true for both adults and students. And if people have never had the experience of making those moments or being given the skills to enable them to make those moments, they're not even aware that they can control them and make space.
I think mindfulness is a natural capability that we all have to attend to our experience, what's happening in our mind, our body, in the whole of our experience. I think there's also a longer description of mindfulness where the idea can be broken down into a number of different parts. And I think of it as having 3 different parts, all of which are like sides of the diamond that need to be there for mindfulness to be present. The first is attention, so that actually we can train our attentional muscle, train our mind to choose what we attend to and to choose what we inhibit. The second part of it is a sort of attitudinal dimension, that it's not attitudinally neutral, that it has a quality of curiosity, of turning towards, of openness, of equanimity, of patience, and of care. So that when we bring our attention, it has those attitudinal dimensions to it as well. And the third is that it has an ethical framework, or it has an intentional basis, if you like, that we're doing it for a particular reason. We're doing it to better understand our mind and to have a way of suffering less, transforming the mind, and enjoying qualities of discernment, of wisdom, of skillfulness. So those 3 different elements of mindfulness, I think, are there as well.
The skills and strategies that the .B program we use gives to children and to adults allows at any time a moment of calm, a moment of presence without thousands of thoughts, worries, future anxieties, past distresses, changing the thought processes. And I think that's a very powerful set of skills for a child to have. Anyone in your life, at any point that you learn them, they're powerful and valuable. But to be given them as a child and to see them practiced and to know the benefits of them and see the benefits of them, I think that's a powerful gift to give to a child.
Our mind is just like a body. You have to nourish it. You have to clean it. And Buddhism exactly have those things, those technical practice. Nourish your mind, clean your mind.